Private Benjamin Thomas Cattle from Corfe Castle in Dorset served with the 2nd Battalion Dorsetshire Regiment in the Far East during the Second World War.
I had no choice. We had to go and serve our country, and this is what we did.
We arrived at the start of the monsoon season. Everything had to be carried on our backs. Our food, water and ammunition all had to be dropped by Allied air forces, mainly Dakotas. The front line, on the steep jungle-clad hills, washed with heavy rain, made it difficult to advance against a well-dug-in enemy. Flanking movements up the hills was treacherous and hard work cutting a way through the dense jungle. We were now up in the hills, with Mount Poolbadge 10,000 foot up to our right, with a series of lower hills and ridges running down to Garrison Hill, the tennis courts and the District Commissioner's bungalow. I was sharing a slit trench and we didn't have much room. There was 3 men in a trench, 6 foot deep, 3 foot wide and 9 foot long. Thank goodness we had a roof over the trench, as we would not have lasted many minutes without it. The ground was strewn with dead bodies, Japanese, British, Indian and Burmese. They lay where they had fallen. It was not possible to move them, as our positions were in view of the Japanese from the ridges on the high ground around Kohima village. The 3 weeks I spent on Garrison Hill were by far the worst days I can ever remember in my life. I never expected the days to end, and I never expected to live through them. Attacks were made daily on the Japanese positions around the tennis court and the Commissioner's bungalow. We had been getting ready to make the final assault. Attempts had been made to pull a honey tank up into our position with a bulldozer. This failed, and the steepness of the hill caused the tank to pull the bulldozer backwards on top of it. They eventually managed to get a Lee Grant tank up to us, and on the 13th of May, the tank moved forward. Shells and bullets were flying everywhere. We were each side of it as it reached the top of the terrace, which looked down on the tennis court. We could hear and see the shells from our own artillery falling on the enemy's position. We knew it was the beginning of the end. I remember we hobbled out of Kohima as an unwashed, lousy, wet, unshaved and undernourished group of war-weary Tommies, but yes, proud with what we had achieved. We knew we still had a long way to go before the Japanese were beaten, but the tide had turned and they were being pushed back down that long and winding road through Burma. Ordinary men were asked to push themselves to their limits and beyond. The forgotten soldiers of the Burma campaign were extraordinary, and on the 75th anniversary of the victory over Japan Day, we remember them.